With me, your humble host, Pugs Moran. Welcome. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon p.m., noon Central Standard Time, the only time zone that I rightfully acknowledge. Till whenever. Today might be a little bbit quicker. I have things that need to be done today, but I said that yesterday as well, and we still went the 2 hours. I don't promise 2 hours, but it's pretty much on average. We give you about 2 hours of hot topics, current events, headlines, everything that people are talking about. What do? I tell you what it is that's making news. And then I tell you why it's making news. Then I tell you why it's stupid, and we move on. It's that quick. Boom, boom, boom. The show is designed to give you a nice little appetizer type familiarity with all the things that people are buzzing about. Because as I've stated time and time again, I live in absolute fear that you people will one day, I don't know, maybe this afternoon, run into somebody at the 7-Eleven or in the gas station or wherever it is. And this person will go, hey, did you hear about? And then you have to sit there and listen to this person tell you. I want you to be able to shut this big bore of a human down. And I want you to be able to say, no, I know all about it. I've already heard about it because I listen to the High Noon Report every Monday through Friday at noon, 12 p.m. with me, yours truly, Pugs Moran. Never be another host. Nobody wants to do it. Never be a fill-in. If I'm not doing it, that's it. There's no show. It's not like we have fill-in hosts. As I said, nobody wants to do it. I don't know if that's the case. What do we need to do? It's tip week. If you want to drop a little something, if you are somebody who thinks, hey, you know what? There needs to be more of this kind of talk, this kind of conversation. And by that, what do I mean? Well, I'll tell you what I mean. I mean, non-political stupid stuff. We don't get into partisan politics. We don't do any of that nonsense. We make fun of it. I make fun of it because I make fun of everything. But I make fun of that. But it's not like, if you got a red hat in your closet, it's not like you're banned. If you're a he, she, they, whatever, it's not like you're banned. I want y'all. I'm very accepting. I think that we can find common ground through my stupidity. I think that's something that can bring people together. And hey, maybe we learn. Gotta tell you though, I got the window open behind me today in the Comfort Nest Studios. The window is open. It might be a bit of a glare, but I need it. I need what is that? Vitamin D? What do you get from the sun? What is the sun? I know everything besides everything. Vitamin D. What is that? I think I need that. Your boy is suffering the dreary drip of ennui. Still feeling a little bit down. Got to get myself up. Here's what I think it is. I think it's because for honestly, the better part of the last week, I have been sequestered, as most of us have, many of us have, in darkened rooms with cranked air conditioning. I feel cooped up. I'm a boy from the Midwest, so I can tell you about a bad winter or 2 or 3 or 4. And I can tell you about how, you start to get cabin fever, as they say. You get a little bit, you start a snowstorm happens on a Saturday. By Wednesday afternoon, you still haven't left your house because you can't get out of your drive. Like, I get that. That's cabin fever. This is different. This is like a weird, too hot to do anything outside. So I'm just going to putter around my house. And Eric, I don't know. I need something. I need something. I need a little bit of an up. So anyway, here's what I do. I do the show every day. Sorry, I'm distracted by a computer issue, and I was trying to pretend like I could do 2 things at once, but obviously that's turning out not to be the case. So let me give this cancel. Let me get out of there. All of a sudden, just for no reason, Google needs to verify it's me. What is just some random check? So I can get back to my notes. Yeah, I have notes. There are notes. There are notes because honestly, I couldn't do this show without notes. What is this show? The show is a 2-hour stream of consciousness. No breaks, no nothing. Sometimes maybe I got to go potty. Sometimes maybe, there's a situation with the dog where I got to step away for a minute. But for the most part, what you're going to get now is 2 hours of this. Enjoy. Me just opining about all the things that are happening in the world. But we don't just do the issues of today. No, we start this show off by delving into the past. We look at the things that have occurred on previous editions of August the 2nd. Today is August the 2nd. We go back in time. We look at things, significant events that may help predict what we can expect in the coming hours. It's fun. Patterns, rhythms, that kinds of thing. And you'd be surprised. They really are. They really are. Then we do birthdays. Then we talk about people who were born on this day. We go through the history of people who have made their mark on this day. Then we talk about deaths. We talk about people who died. Yeah, we do the events. We do births. We do deaths. And then and only then, after I feel like we've got a full, well-rounded view of what this day has represented throughout past, then we just blindly jump into the shallow end of whatever it is that's happening in today. So want to get into that? Should we start? Why not? Let's get started. It is high noon. This is the High Noon Report for August, the 2nd year of our Lord, 2023. I am your humble host, Pugs Moran. Did you know this is the 214th day of the year? There are 151 days remaining until the end of the year. 151 days. What are you doing for New Year's Eve? It's time to start really planning. Nah, maybe it's still too early, but you know what I'm saying? Now you got to start thinking about it. All right, let's get into a little segment that we like to call Erstwhile on this day. Erstwhile on this day. These are events that have taken place on previous editions of August the 2nd. Here we go on this day in 1610. That's right, we're going all the way back. On this day in 1610, during Henry Hudson's search for the Northwest Passage, he sails into what is now known as Hudson Bay. Okay. History, man. History is not always by design. You know, look at Columbus. Columbus made history. He wasn't trying. He was trying to do something else, something that was not quite historic. Henry Hudson, basically New York. He basically discovered New York. He was looking for the Northwest Passage. Okay, he was really lost. He was like really, well, I mean, you got to go all the way up through Canada. And anyway, moving on. On this date in 1610, Henry Hudson got lost and found what coincidentally was called Hudson Bay. On this day in 1776, here you go. You ready to have your minds blown? Ready to have your minds blown. All right. We've been doing this show for 2 years now. So this is I believe the second time that I would have done this particular thing. Do you remember? Do you remember what today is? August the 2nd, 1776. Today's the day that they signed the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, I know you thought it was July 4th. Hey, so did I, man. No bad on your part. We were all led to believe. It was all part of the programming as a kid. It was just easier. Just give them one date to celebrate July 4th. July 4th, 1776 is not the day they signed the Declaration of Independence. It is the day that the Continental Congress ratified the Declaration of Independence. Technically, it became law once they ratified it. However, the signing, it was not required for all of the signees of the Declaration of Independence to sign it. And that's why John Hancock signed it so large. When you look at the Declaration of Independence, like that whole put John Hancock right here. The reason we have that term today is because John Hancock signed really big. And American mythology and all this is, but he really wanted the British to know his name. No, that's not what he was doing. It's not what he was doing at all. John Hancock signed the document on July 4th, 1776, after said document was ratified by the Continental Congress. He signed it because he was the only one that was supposed to sign it. He was the clerk of that Congress. He was in charge of that paperwork thing. So him signing it is him saying, yes, this did pass, and I am the witness to it passing, and he signs. That's why he signed it so big. It was only in the weeks after, as news spread of the Declaration of Independence, that a number of would-be signees decided, hey, I want my name on this document. So they all reconvened on this day, on August the 2nd. They all got together in the Continental Congress, and that's why everybody else signed real little. And that's why John Hancock is so big. John Hancock is so big because he thought he was the only one signing it. There was no reason. But, yeah, a couple of weeks go by. People start buzzing about this big thing, and local politicians, a.k.a. founding fathers, they decide, you know what? I want my name on this document. This is good for me. This is this, and that's what happened. So it was actually on this day, August the 2nd, 1776, that the signees of the Declaration of Independence, all but four. Obviously, John Hancock, he signed first. So that was on July 4th. Then everybody else signed on August 2nd, except for three other dudes who weren't there. And by the way, this has been challenged. Like there was a wide, for a long time, there was a belief that no, they signed it on July 4th. They didn't come back on August the 2nd, except for the fact that was pointed out by some old-timey historian back in like 1900. This old-timey historian actually discovered that it could not have been signed by all of those people on July the 4th because 3 of those people who signed it weren't even elected to Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776. They were elected like in late July or something is when they took their post. So they weren't even in Congress, and yet they signed it. They weren't members who ratified it, but they signed it. I don't know who those are, but you can do the research on your own. And there you go, a little bit of American history that we learned here on the High Noon Report. You're welcome. Born on this day in 1923, on this day in 1923, Vice President Calvin Coolidge becomes U.S. president. This was upon the death of Warren G. Harding. Couple of spares, right? Couple of spare presidents. What did Coolidge do? Harding, these guys weren't good, right? Were they mid to below mid? I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, happy Ascension Day to you, Calvin Coolidge. You became president on this day in 1923. On this day in 1937, the Marijuana Act of 1937 is passed in America, the effect of which is to render marijuana in all its byproducts illegal. Now, I don't want to say in 1937 the people who passed this act didn't know anything about marijuana, but they didn't even spell it properly. They spelled the spelling of the act is M-A-R-I-H-U-A-N. There's no J involved. There is a J in the spelling of marijuana, and they failed to get it right. But it was on this day when the demonization of the devil's weed became an actual governmental thing, a bureaucratic stamp. Weed is bad from this day forward. On this day in 1943, World War II, the motor torpedo boat PT-109 is ran by Japanese destroyer Amagari and sinks. Lieutenant John F. Kennedy, future U.S. president, saves all but 2 of his crew. Very big part of my early programming. What with being an Irish Catholic lad and all, reading the book PT-109. I think it was assigned to us in school. I think PT-109. PT-109 is John F. Kennedy's story of heroism and how he had a jacked up back for the rest of his life. He jacked himself up pretty big. Good story, Take it with a grain of salt because he was a rich kid, and rich kids get to make up whatever stories they want, and people believe it. So I don't know. Something happened. We know this. We know something happened. The heroism, as depicted by John F. Kennedy himself in the memoir that he wrote, PT-109. Or no, that's not what it is. The movie was PT-09. The book was, I can't remember. Anyway, I don't know. He made it seem like he was quite the hero. Hey, good for him. It was on this day in 1943 that the actual event took place. On this day in 1985, Delta Airlines Flight 191. Now, I don't do airline crashes anymore. I used to do because there's so many. But this one I wanted to mention because this is the biggest airline crash in DFW history. 1985, Delta Airlines Flight 191, a Lockheed L-1011 TriStar, crashes at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, killing 137. I think there were 24 survivors on this plane. So this happened at DFW here in North Texas as we do the show here in 1985. Man, this is a very big part of my belief. Remember my belief that air travel between, like, say, I don't know, after World War II and the year 2000 was really just a roll of the dice, because in those 55 years or so, they were really just kind of perfecting it. All the bugs weren't worked out. They hadn't experienced absolutely everything. So planes would crash for reasons that now in the year 2023, they don't crash for, because we anticipate them and we know them. So that's my long held belief that planes crashed all the time between 1945 and the year 2000. Excuse me. This is an example of that. This plane crashed because of weather. This plane crashed because of a microburst that it flew into. This plane was 1,000 feet off the ground. Everything was fine. Fort Lauderdale to Los Angeles with a stopover in Dallas-Fort Worth, and it was making its landing at Dallas-Fort Worth for its stopover. It got to 1,000 feet flying through a low-hanging rainstorm, and a microburst shoved this plane nose first right into 114. Crashed into a Toyota Celica. Some 28-year-old kid's just driving it, and all of a sudden he's dead because a plane just nosedives right into him. This was weather. The black box transcript is here. You know what? Since it is, I'll spend a little time on this. If we're unfamiliar with this particular crash, as it occurred here in North Texas, Delta Airlines Flight 191 was a regularly scheduled Delta Airlines flight domestic service from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to Los Angeles with an intermediate stop at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. On August 2nd, 1985, Flight 191 encountered a microburst while on approach to land at DFW. The aircraft impacted ground over 1 mile short of the runway, struck a car near the airport. That's the 28-year-old dude who was driving the Celica. Struck a car near the airport and collided with 2 township water tanks, then disintegrated. 137 people died and 25 others were injured in the crash. The National Transportation Safety Board determined that the crash resulted from the flight crew's decision to fly through a thunderstorm, the lack of procedures or training to avoid or escape microbursts, and the lack of hazard information on the wind shear. See, now those are all things that we know now. In 1985, they didn't have any protocols for a microburst. They didn't really know what a microburst was. Man, it's horrifying. And then there's a transcript here. There's a transcript here from the black box. Oh, let me read some of this to you. This is rough. At 18:03, the approach controller once again asked Flight 191 to reduce its speed, this time to 150 knots, or 170 miles per hour. Approach controller then handed the flight over to tower controller at DFW. 12 seconds later, the captain radioed the tower and said, "Tower, Delta 191 Heavy, out here in the rain, feels good." The tower controller advised Flight 191 that the wind was blowing at 5 knots with gusts up to 15 knots, which the captain acknowledged. The flight crew lowered the landing gear and extended their flaps for landing at 18:04. What is that? 6 o'clock, 6:04 in the evening. 6:04 in the evening. Price commented, Price was the co-pilot. Price commented, "Lightning coming out of that cloud right ahead of us." The captain called out that they were at 1,000 feet at 18:05, at 6:05. 14 seconds later, he cautioned Price, his co-pilot, to watch his airspeed. At the same time, the cockpit voice recorder captured the beginning of a sound identified as rain pelting the cockpit. The captain then warned his co-pilot, Price, "You're going to lose it all of a sudden. There it is." At 6:05, the captain told Price, "Push it up, push it up." Several seconds later, the CVR recorded the sound of engines spooling up. Co-pilot Connors then said, "That's it, that's all I got." At 18:05 or 6:05, Captain Connors exclaimed, "Hang on to the son of a bitch." From this point, the aircraft began a descent from which it never recovered. The angle was over 30 degrees and began to vary widely over the next few seconds. The pitch angle began to sink and the aircraft started to descend before the glide scope. At 6:05 and 44 seconds, with the aircraft descending at more than 50 feet per second, the ground proximity warning system sounded. The captain responded by declaring TOGA, aviation shorthand for the order to apply maximum thrust and abort landing by going around. The first officer responded by pulling up and raising the nose of the aircraft, which slowed but did not stop the plane's descent. At 6:05 and 52 seconds, still descending at a rate of around 10 feet per second, the aircraft landing gear made contact with a plowed field just north of the runway off 114. Remaining structurally intact, Flight 191 remained on the ground while rolling at a high rate of speed across the farmland. The main landing gear left shallow depressions in the field that extended 240 feet before disappearing and then reappearing again as it crossed across Texas State Highway 114. The aircraft struck a highway street light and its nose gear touched down on the westbound lane of 114, skidding across the road at 200 miles per hour. The aircraft's left engine landed on a Toyota Celica, driven by a 28-year-old William Mayberry, killing him instantly. Okay, I don't need to go into any more, but holy crap, man. This is why I don't fly. I'll tell you, man. I mean, I only fly when I gotta. Otherwise, I will drive. I know my belief, right? 1945, 2000, we had all these bugs, but we figured them out, and now it should be safer. But still, this is not a way to go. This is not a way to go. Here, let me show you something, since we've spent a little bit of time on this particular story. Let me show you, here's the seating arrangement on this flight. Where is it? There it is. All right, let me show you the seating arrangement of like who survived and who didn't. Okay. I hope this is going to be big enough. It may well not be. Okay, here we go. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. All the red is dead. Okay, so every red dot that you see, that's a dead person. Those people are dead. Baby blue. Okay, and you can see there's two baby blues. One baby blue is all the way down here. It almost looks like it's a jump seat for like a stewardess or something. And then this guy right here, all on the far back right corner, about 3 rows from the very back, that dude walked away with nothing. 2 people walked away with nothing. The greens are minor injuries. So anywhere where you see green, so the back of the plane looks to be the safest place. The greens are minor injuries, and the yellows are serious injuries. White seats are empty seats. Whoa. There you go. I don't like to do. Look, I told you I was battling that nemesis, the dreary drip of ennui. I'm in kind of a negative mood, so forgive me if I spent a little bit too much time on that. But woo, no, thank you. Don't want to fly in an airplane. Let's see here. How about on this day in 1990? On this day in 1990, the Iraq War started. Well, the Iraq War didn't start, but it was on this day that Iraq, Saddam Hussein went into Kuwait. Remember that? Oh man, we got something, because we really hadn't had a war or anything to get excited about. We got really excited about Desert Storm. Remember Desert Storm? That's not part 2. That's not the one that came after September 11th. I'm talking about the one before September 11th. We were way into that war. That war was easy, man. That war made us feel good. That war was a bit of a slump buster for us. We needed that. We needed to get that out of the way because we had a lot of shit coming after September 11th. We had to be ready for it. On this day in 1990, Iraq invades Kuwait. How about some birthdays? Let's do some birthdays now. Buana, buana, buana. Let's talk of birthdays. Buana, buana, buana. Whose birthday's today? Carol O'Connor is celebrating a birthday today. Not really. He's dead. Born in 1924. Boy, the way Glenn Miller played Archie Bunker. He was also the cop on that. Didn't he play like an old racist cop on like Heat of the Night or something? I don't know. I know in the movie The Heat of the Night, Rod Steiger was a racist cop. And I know that Carol O'Connor then played the Rod Steiger. I don't know. Never saw it. Never watched in The Heat of the Night. Know him primarily from Archie Bunker. Born on this day in 1932, Lamar Hunt, American businessman, co-founder of the American Football League. The Lamar Hunt Trophy. The Hunts live right around the corner. Here's a fun fact that people don't know. Lamar Hunt Jr., owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, and Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, live right across the street from each other. Right down the block here. That's right down the block. When the Chiefs won the World Series, people were leaving all kinds of wreaths and stuff. That's Lamar Hunt Jr.'s house. Lamar Hunt, the guy that the Hunt Trophy is named after, the winner of the AFC, the team from the AFC that goes to the Super Bowl, they win the Lamar Hunt Trophy. NFC wins the George Halas Trophy. And then together, it's the Lombardi Trophy. That's what you want. You want the Lombardi. But Lamar Hunt, he's a big dude. Started out here, Dallas Texans, right? When that his team, he formed the Dallas Texans as an AFC rival. And then the Dallas Cowboys were like, we can't have 2 teams here. And so they made a deal and moved to Kansas City and became the Kansas City Chiefs. And the rest is history. Born on this day, 1932, Lamar Hunt. Born on this day also in 1932, Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole died in 2013. Peter O'Toole's probably spent a good 60 years of his life smashed. Dude was drunk all the time. That was his brand. Peter O'Toole being drunk. Great actor. Is he drunk? Yep. Wes Craven, born on this day in 1939. Wes Craven, American director, producer, screenwriter, Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Isn't that him? That's the guy. How about Butch Patrick, born on this day in 1953? Butch Patrick. Eddie Munster. A little throw out. He was good. Look, here's what's good about Butch Patrick, I think. I don't know. He never got in any trouble, right? He wasn't one of those child stars that ended up, running a auto theft ring or, dealing meth in Arkansas or something like that. He never, I don't think he did. I don't think he ever killed anybody. I don't think he ever stabbed a roommate. I think Butch Patrick pretty much did it right. Congratulations, Butch Patrick. He was Eddie Munster, right? Wait, who did I say he was? Butch. Oh, we got two Butches. That's why I'm confused. Butch Patrick, of course, Eddie Munster, who I just talked about. Now let's move on to somebody born in 1955. Butch Vig. That's weird. Name your kid Butch. He's born today. Two Butches. That Butch is not a common name to have two. There's probably only 3 famous Butches, and 2 of them were born on this day. That's weird. Butch Vig, American drummer, songwriter, record producer. Butch Vig, icon in Chicago rock for sure. The madman of Madtown. He's up there in Madison, Wisconsin, just across the border. Taking all the Chicago bands, making them great up there, getting them up there in the country, out there in Madison. I love Madison, Wisconsin. I love Butch Vig. Butch Vig? Garbage, right? Yeah, he's the drummer in Garbage. That's his studio band. That's the studio band that he put together of all like the people he played with up there in Madison. Smashing Pumpkins, Gish, of course. Gish wasn't. He did Siamese Dream too. But Gish, I don't think Gish was a big national deal. Gish was a big local deal in Chicago when it came out because it was like, and all the local rock stations played it before. I think Siamese Dream is when the Smashing Pumpkins gained national attention. But that was Butch Vig. Butch Vig, he's like a guy. Nirvana, Nevermind. He's Mr. Nevermind, right? He's the guy who produced Nevermind. Butch Vig, genius producer. If you're Gen X, you know his name. Born on this day in 1955. Born on this day in 1959. Here's a crazy lady, Victoria Jackson, American actress, says she's a singer. I don't know about that. She was on Saturday Night Live. She was good on that, and then she did nothing. Where'd she go? What happened to Victoria Jackson? Born on this day in 1959. It's kind of crazy. Like, I remember Phil Hartman telling a story about how she was crazy. Anyway, Phil Hartman's dead too. That's sad. Born on this day in 1964, Mary Louise Parker. Oh, man. I think on some level, every man alive has a soft spot for Mary Louise Parker. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because here's what Mary Louise Parker is. And I'm going to be, okay, so maybe a little misogynistic here. I'm going to play with that old tool, the rating system, right? Okay, so we're going to do this. So like Mary Louise Parker is like a Hollywood 6. You know what I mean? This is a Hollywood 6. She's an Ohio bombshell, though. Like she's a Toledo 10. She is like, and I think that appeals. I think the fact that she's not, she's beautiful. She's beautiful. And she's, I'm just talking physically here. Look, as an actress, she's tremendous. I love her as an actress. I love that whole, she could give a shit, no F's to give kind of attitude that she's got. That's great too. But I think that her appeal to people is that she's not really gorgeous. Like a wife could be friends with her because it's not obvious that the husband's going to be lusting after. You know what I mean? I think that she's got that appeal, and I think that's an appeal that works for a lot of people in Hollywood. And there you go. She's a Hollywood 6. She's a Hollywood 6. She's a Toledo 10. Somehow that appeals to the nation's men. All men like Mary Louise Parker. Nancy Botwin from Weeds and West Wing and a whole bunch of other things. She's cute. How about Kevin Smith, born on this day in 1970? Kevin Smith, American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter. Is Kevin Smith a bust? Hold on. Is Kevin Smith a bust? Is Kevin Smith a bust? And I say bust in the parlance of like the NFL. If Kevin Smith was a draft pick after Clerks, Is he a bust? I mean, I understand it's different because art is subjective and he's a creative and he makes things and some people appreciate it in ways and on levels that others don't. But is he a bust? Like if you were like his financial backer, like what has he done? Clerks. You would think that Kevin Smith was going to be one of the most powerful and influential directors of his generation. He gave us Mallrats. He gave us Dogma. Dogma's good. I mean, that's good. He makes good movies, but I don't know. Anyway, happy birthday, Kevin Smith. I mean, I enjoy your work, but I think you're a bust. I think you're kind of, you are. You're who is he? He was a high draft pick who a bit of a Jared Goff by today, although Jared Goff is certainly having a bit of a rebound moment in Detroit. Maybe a bit of a Jared Goff. Kevin Smith, high draft pick. Not a complete bust, but, Anyway. All right. Happy birthday to you, Kevin Smith. Also born on this day in 1992. Someone named Charlie XCX, who I know is a pop star, but, honestly, no clue. Don't know who she is. Strange name. Don't get it. Now let's move on to these are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Do we care? Where we ask a question about an individual who has passed away on this day. And that question is, we give a shit? Do we care that they died? They're famous, but, do they mean anything to us? Here's how I come to this. I know it seems dark and it seems sort of disrespectful, but look, two truths that we hold near and dear around these parts. One, a lot of assholes out there. Two, everyone dies. Therefore, assholes die every day. And, we're just trying to keep it real for you. Dead on this day in 1876. This is interesting because of a yesterday death. Dead on this day in 1876, Wild Bill Hickok, American sheriff, lawman, gambler. I don't know. He was a raconteur, a bon vivant. He was an interesting guy. Wild Bill Hickok. We talked about him yesterday because yesterday is the anniversary of the death of Calamity Jane. Now, Calamity Jane, I talked about in terms of all I knew about her was Deadwood. Same with Wild Bill Hickok. All I know about Wild Bill Hickok, I learned on the show Deadwood, of which Wild Bill and Calamity Jane were two major characters, two lead characters. and Wild Bill seemed like a cool guy. At least in Deadwood, he seemed like a cool guy. But here's why it's interesting that he died on this day in 1876. He died on this day in 1876, and like 20 years later, like 1903 or something like that, is when Calamity Jane died. One day before what would have been the anniversary of his death. Now, if you watch Deadwood, you know that she had a crazy hero worship thing on Wild Bill. Like Calamity Jane worshipped. Nobody took the death of Wild Bill Hickok worse. So all I'm saying is she was probably, as I am, doing battle with the desperate drip of despair. And, it was the anniversary of the passing of her mentor, her God, her love, the love of her life. I don't know if there was anything there. I think she wanted there to be something there, but I don't think Bill would have done that. I don't know, maybe, who knows? I think she was in despair. And I think that's the coincidence. That's why she died. She died on the night before the anniversary, 20-year anniversary, I believe, of Wild Bill Hickok passing on this day in 1876. Do we care? Yeah, we care because one of the Carradines played him in Deadwood. I don't know which Carradine, not the one that died doing the naughty thing, and not the one that was in Nerds. So I don't know which Carradine he is. He's a good one, though. He's a good one. Whoever the Carradine is who played Wild Bill Hickok in Deadwood on HBO was awesome. So, yeah, we care. Dead on this day in 1876. Dead on this day in 1922, Alexander Graham Bell. Do we care? I mean, look, let's be honest. Okay, so I guess we do care. But here's a fun thing to wonder about. If Alexander Graham Bell had never worked on the telephone, right? If he had never done the telephone, maybe he was distracted and he went down a different path and he's working on something else. If he had never invented the telephone, somebody else would have, right? And maybe something totally different would have happened. Huh? I don't know. You ever think of that? You ever think of... Anyway, I do. Do we care? Yeah, we care. Alexander Graham Bell. But like what don't we have? Because somebody who would have invented it got distracted and started working on something else. Like, I don't know. And it's a fun little mental exercise. It'll drive you nuts. Dead on this day in 1923, as mentioned before, Warren G. Harding, American president, politician, president of the United States. This is when Coolidge ascended to the throne. Harding died on this day. President, he's a president. We care. Respect for the office and whatnot. All right, let's see here. Dead on this day in 1979. Here's a crazy one. Thurman Munson, the captain. That's right. Thurman Munson, New York Yankees catcher, one of the great catchers of all time, died on this day in 1979 during an off day. Thurman Munson was kind of a curmudge. Like Thurman was old school baseball. Yankee catcher, the fans loved him. He was a stalwart behind the plate there for years and years. Billy Martin was the manager, and Billy loved Thurman. Billy Thurman was Billy's kind of player. And then Steinbrenner brought in Reggie Jackson, and Reggie Jackson was added to the mix. And all of a sudden, Thurman Munson, the captain of the Yankees, who ruled that team with an iron fist, couldn't control Reggie anymore. There was no controlling Reggie. And that caused problems. And it's a great, interesting season, the 1977 season. 2 years later, on an off day, Thurman Munson had bought an airplane. He lived in Ohio. And his thinking was, during games with off days at Yankee Stadium, he could just hop in his own plane and fly himself a couple of hours to Ohio, where he could be with his family. Very nice thought. On one particular off day, Thurman was in Ohio at the airport where he kept his plane. He was described by many as being a terrible pilot, but he was a confident guy, and he was practicing takeoffs and landings. And on the third or fourth attempt of a takeoff and landing, he forgot to put his flaps forward, and the plane went into trees, and Thurman Munson died. Thurman Munson, I remember vividly 1979 being 10 years old. I remember Thurman Munson dying. I remember this being a huge deal for a little young baseball head, because he was one of the big names. He was one of the stars. And I'm 10 years old, and I'm like, wait, he can't die. He's famous. You know what I mean? It was like one of the earliest. Very strange. Very strange. All right, Thurman Munson, dead on this day in 1979. Do we care? Yeah, we do. Dead on this day in 1986, a preemptive, because we don't give a shit. Roy Cohn, one of the worst Americans in history. Roy Cohn died of AIDS on this day in 1986. I say it again, Roy Cohn, one of the worst humans in American history. One of the absolute most deceitful, duplicitous, anti-American, horrible individuals that this country has ever produced. You don't believe me? Pick up any number of the biographies that have been written about the life of the evil Roy Cohn and learn what this guy was about. Roy Cohn is burning in hell, and we should all be applauding. Do we give a shit? No, we really don't. Dead on this day in 1986. Enjoy hell, Roy Cohn. Dead on this day in 1998, Sherry Lewis. Sherry Lewis was a nice lady. Remember, she had lamb chop. She was like someone that our parents liked when they were little. Like, she was like a kid show host in the 50s. Sock puppet. Like, that was the whole thing. Hi, I'm Lamb Chop. Sherry Lewis, dead on this day in 1998. Do we care? Yeah. She seemed like it's not her fault Muppets hadn't been invented when she was doing her thing. She's a sock puppet lady. She made it work, man. And she seemed like a delightful lady. Sherry Lewis, dead on this day in 1998. All right, here's another one for us baseball head. Do we care? Yeah, we care. Here's another one for us baseball heads. Preemptively, do we care? Yes. Quite possibly. I mean, look, it depends on where you are. Really depends on where you are in the country. People will tell you about Harry Carey. People tell you about Jack Buck. People tell you about Red Barber. People on the West Coast will tell you about the man who died on this day in 2022, Vin Scully, the great Vin Scully. Voice of the Dodgers for 40 years. I don't know. He was the voice of the Dodgers forever. Synonymous with baseball. Vin Scully's voice for me in the 1980s as a kid sitting there watching. I should also add Mel Allen. Mel Allen is another one of those guys, one of those names. I mean, because it's hard to say the greatest voice in baseball history. Really? Harry Carey, Jack Buck, Mel Allen, Red Barber. I mean, there's a lot of people that we we have to consider. Bob Uecker. I mean, there are great ones that are out there today. So anyway, Vin Scully, do we care? Yeah, we care, because for me, as a kid in the 80s who loved baseball, he was certainly an icon. Greatest voice in history? I don't know. I think that's a little bit of LA bias. He's in LA, Hollywood, amplification of the message and all that because of where he is. That's all. I'm just saying, I loved him. He was great. Vin Scully, dead on this day in 2022. All right, that's going to do it, folks. Those were the people who've died. Those were the people who have died. We're going to move now into the hot topics and current events that are shaping the world today. I'd like to remind you again that we are in this final push week. If you can drop a little something, and I haven't heard anybody tip yet today, so that's why I'm bringing it up again. I get a little, there's like a bang, bang, you hear it, and I like to hear at least one a day. Didn't hear one yet, so if you want to tip the show and can help us out and want to get us through producing shows throughout the month of August, now would be the time here on August the 2nd. Okay, let's move on. Let's get into the subjects. Obviously, by the way, breaking news earlier this morning as I was putting everything together, it happened. The shooter in the Pittsburgh synagogue thing got life. He's getting life. He's is it life? Hold on, I'll find out. It's developing, but it just flashed across the screen as breaking news, and I'm not sure I had it. Anyway, sorry about that. I'll tell you in a sec. I'm distracted now. I'm being distracted by the TV. I apologize. I'm going to try and stream for you all the events. First, can you tell? I don't want to talk about Trump. I don't want to talk about this stuff. Trump was indicted again. This time, the Jack Smith January 6th investigation. This is wholly different than the Mar-a-Lago investigation, which is also a federal investigation under the guise of special counsel Jack Smith. There is the Stormy Daniels indictment in New York. We are still waiting on Fani Willis in Atlanta to find out what's going on there. So just glossing over this because I don't want to get into this nonsense, but and I don't mean nonsense like it shouldn't have. I just mean the inevitable butthurtedness that somebody's going to get if I accidentally say the wrong word here, because I don't want to delve into the politics of this. I don't want to delve into any of that stuff. I just want to tell you 4 new counts and a bunch of co-conspirators. 2 believed to be Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. Sidney Powell, that crazy lawyer lady. I mean, everybody knows she's crazy. I mean, that's the lady that Tucker Carlson called a C word, right? So, I mean, everybody knows she's crazy. All right. So there you have it. We all know you don't need to come here to learn about the Trump indictment, but it's the big story. So there you go. Have at it. Mega Millions. We were talking about Mega Millions. Actually, we were talking about Powerball 2 weeks ago. That went up over $1 billion, became one of the biggest jackpots in American lottery history. Then we got the Mega Millions now. Mega Millions had a drawing last night for $1.25 billion. Mega Millions, and nope. Nobody won. So it's a rolling over, baby. That's right. The next Mega Millions drawing for talk about the opiate of the masses, huh? Isn't that what the lotto is? Isn't that when it gets to be above $1 billion? Don't we all start dreaming? We all suddenly have hope. We all for a brief moment put down the pitchforks. We put down the tiki torches. We cancel plans to attend the march, and we hope for that chance at the Golden Wonka ticket. Woo, we got the Mega Millions. That'll change everything. Winning Mega Millions numbers for August 1st, 2023. And there is no winner. Jackpot is now. Okay. I don't really. You can stop with the pop-ups, people. No, I'm sorry. It is rising to 1.25 billion. It is believed to be rising. So it'll be 1.25 billion on Friday. Here's the story. The winning numbers for Tuesday night's drawings were 8, 24, 30, 45, 61, and the Mega Ball was 12. That the Mega Ball. That's what she says. Every time I buy the ticket, every time I buy a Mega Millions ticket, she's like, and I go, I just grunt at. I don't know what she's saying. But apparently there's an upcharge on Mega Millions. And I always get the upcharge. I think that's what she's saying. ching, there you go. Did anyone win Mega Millions last night, Tuesday, August the 1st? 2 tickets in California and 1 each in Massachusetts, North Carolina, New York, and Wisconsin matched 5 numbers. 1 ticket right here in the great state of Texas matched 5 numbers. And the Mega Plier. No one won the big jackpot. All right, so what does that mean? What are we looking at? We're looking at the next drawing is going to be on Friday night. Takes place at 10 p.m. Central Time. So you got to get your ticket before 10 p.m. Central Time. How much could you win? Winning numbers in the next jackpot drawing on Tuesday would receive an estimated $1.25 billion. Jackpot winners may choose to receive their prize in an annuity. We all know about that. With 1 immediate payment followed by 29 annual payments. No, nobody wants that. Stop pushing the annuity. Nobody wants it. You only need to match 1 number to win a prize. The Mega Ball, worth $2. If you do not match, I don't care. I don't care. You know what? I'm going to put the number after you know that thing that I do? I do that thing where I don't check my tickets because I think that, they'll probably, if somebody doesn't claim the 1.2, there'll be a news story and I'll go and check it at some point. But as long as I don't check it, I haven't lost. Opiate of the masses. That's the hope. Woo, trafficking and hope. That's what we do around here. As long as I've got that unchecked lottery ticket, as long as I will buy I've been known to buy lottery tickets and not scratch them off. Just leave them there. Just because as long as they're there, there's something. There is hope. There is hope. And then, like a year later, I'll look at it and I'll go, does this thing expire? I should probably check this out. And then I scratch it off and I lose and it's no big deal. All right. So Mega Millions Friday, get your tickets. Don Geronimo, I want to talk about this because we talked about this with James Parker last night. It was breaking yesterday afternoon. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. Don Geronimo, a talk show host in Washington, D.C., a legendary talk show host, has been fired by his radio station, WBIG iHeartRadio. WBIG is the flagship of the Washington Commanders football network. I know if we're here in Texas, we understand the Dallas Cowboys network. Every team has one of those. That's every big team anyway. So the Washington Commanders network is a pretty big thing. And WBIG, the radio station that employs Don Geronimo, makes a whole lot of money off of their partnership with the Washington Commanders. Now, what do we know about the Washington Commanders? We know that is it is a recently extinguished tire fire. Right? Under Daniel Snyder, the former owner of the Washington Commanders, that team underwent all kinds of problems, investigations, all kinds of corruption, grab ass, harassment. There was an issue with cheerleaders. It was just a very, very messy situation that ultimately led to Daniel Snyder having to sell the team. The new guy came in, Josh Brown. I don't know. I'll memorize his name as it becomes needed. The new owner comes in. And this is the first season, clean slate. We're no longer the Washington Redskins, which was a name that gave us problems. Then for a couple of years, we were like the Washington football team. Now we're the Commanders. We've got a new owner. We are moving forward. This is going to be great. And on day 1 of camp, the morning show host for the flagship radio station describes... here's what's happening. He's doing his morning show live from the training facility. He's in a studio, a glass studio, air conditioned. And he's looking out into the parking lot of the Commander's facility, commenting on people as they're walking in and out of the building. One woman comes out, a beautiful woman, starts walking across the parking lot. And he says this. Here, let me, I should probably have this ready for him. I want to play what he said. Okay, so here we go. I want to play what he said. Here's what he said. So we'll play this. Hold on. Give me. All right. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I know this takes a second.
Radio host is out of a job after calling a sports reporter Barbie. Here is WBIG's host Don Geronimo talking about WUSA TV sports anchor Charlotte McBride.
Hi, Barbie girl. Hi there. I'm guessing she's a...
All right, so here's the first thing he says. Remember, he's in a studio with glass, people walking in across the parking lot. He sees this girl walking across the parking lot just last week. We are in the midst of a Barbie phenomena. He sees this girl walking across and says, "Hi, Barbie girl. Hi there." And then he turns to his co-host and says, "I'm guessing she's a cheerleader." What's wrong with that? I swear to God, now I am no defender of Don Geronimo. He's been in trouble in the past, but this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Hi, Barbie girl. Hi there. I'm guessing she's a cheerleader. Now, as James Parker pointed out last night, she wasn't a cheerleader, and that's part of the problem. She is a sports reporter for a local television station, which is great. Good for her. Glad she's got the job. I don't have a problem with women doing sports. It's kind of cool. Kay Adams is my favorite. Anyway. So as James pointed out last night, shit tons, absolute shit tons of women who do on-air sports stuff for television and all that stuff came from the ranks of cheerleaders, whether they were college cheerleaders or NFL cheerleaders. James talked about the woman that he worked with in New Orleans at the local television station who had been a New Orleans Saints cheerleader and was now doing the local news. I mentioned last night an icon of Chicago broadcasting, a woman by the name of Cheryl Burton, who has been the longtime 10 p.m. news anchor at ABC7, the network affiliate in Chicago, for about 20 years. And she was a Chicago Honey Bear cheerleader back in '85 when they were so good. So how is that an insult? Are you insulting by being offended that he thought you were a cheerleader? Aren't you insulting cheerleaders and all of the women who have used cheerleading as a stepping stone to get to where they want to be in their careers? You're reading into this thing. Geronimo says, "Hi, Barbie girl. Hi there. I'm guessing she's a cheerleader." Now, again, women feel threatened by this kind of talk. One, she couldn't hear him because she was outside. And tell me if he sounds threatening in the way he says it. He might sound a little patronizing with the "Hi, Barbie girl." That may not be appropriate, but is it worth losing your job over? And does she have any right to claim that she has been abused now or harassed or horrified by this? It's the worst thing. She said it's the worst thing that has happened to her in her entire career. Let's listen again.
"Hi, Barbie girl." "Hi there. I'm guessing she's a cheerleader."
All right, now here is the second one. This is the second clip. That's all he said. "Hi, Barbie girl. I'm guessing she's a cheerleader." All right, Bob, let's talk about the offensive line this year. How we do. That's basically how the segment went. He didn't obsess on her. He said, "Hi, Barbie girl. I'm guessing she's a cheerleader." Jeez. So here now it comes back. It comes back a little while later. In Don Geronimo says this.
"Is that chick that you thought said tight?"
Yeah, I screamed tight when she.
All right, Geronimo, there's that chick that you thought you said was tight. Okay, so Don Geronimo, the host, is now turning to his co-host, who apparently earlier said that he found her attractive. He called her tight. Okay, again, we'll break it down. She's tight. You thought she was tight. Yes. What does that mean? Attractive. It means attractive. He says, yes. I screamed tight.
I think she's a sportscaster at Channel 9.
Yeah.
Or Channel 7.
Yeah, she's familiar.
I thought she was a cheerleader.
Okay, again, I thought she was a cheerleader. Now, I don't understand how because you're saying that that's all she can be. No, that's not at all what he's saying. Let's listen one more time to this entire thing. By the way, this guy, there are not a lot of people in radio who like him, but the fact of the matter is he's an icon. This dude is a huge name in Washington, D.C. He's part of Don and Mike was a nationally syndicated, highly successful two-man. There was Opie and Anthony, and there was Don and Mike. Those were the two big two-man teams that swept the country in the 1990s. He was big, and his entire career is being flushed down the toilet now because of this, because this woman. Now, let me show you the woman. Let me show you the woman that he mistaken allegedly called a Barbie girl. Okay. He said, I thought she was a cheerleader. Which I don't understand how that's a negative. Cheerleaders are beautiful, empowered women. All right, so here we go. So this is the girl that he saw walking across the parking lot, and he said, hi, Barbie girl, and then turned to his friend and said, I thought she was a cheerleader. Okay, let's take a look at her, shall we? There she is. There she is. Hi, Barbie girl. I thought she was a cheerleader. How is that worthy of a man losing his job? I'll tell you how, and I said it last night, and I don't often go off on it because I understand, hey, easy targets being what they are. It's because he's a 64-year-old white man. That's why. All I could think of is if the local hip-hop station was doing a morning show from there, and let's say a sidekick on the hip-hop station, say a 28-year-old news girl, were to call her, look at that Barbie girl coming across, would she lose her job? I thought she was a cheerleader. If the exact same thing was said by somebody other than a 64-year-old white man who has a history of being a shock jock in the 90s, would anything have happened? No, he's an easy target. He's an easy target, and now he's got to apologize. And you know what? There's a lot of people in radio who don't like Don Geronimo who are laughing right now. But that doesn't stop. It's the principle. Here we go with principles again. There is no way in hell that anyone could look at this woman and call her in August of 2023 a Barbie girl. And by the way, let's talk about what that means in August of 2023. Maybe in 1998, it might have been seen as, or taken as a pejorative. Okay, Barbie girl. Not in 2023. There are girls out there trying to look like Barbie girls. It's a fashion phenomenon. And again, look at her. Come on, man. Seriously? It's not an insult to call her a Barbie girl. She looks like a Barbie girl. I'll say it right now, she looks like a Barbie girl. She's got long blonde hair. She looks just like Barbie. How is that an insult? How is that the worst? How is that the thing that is the worst experience of her broadcast career? Because that's what she said. She claimed that this is the worst experience of my broadcast career. He called me a Barbie girl and he thought I was a cheerleader. God, we haven't really looked into her background, but I hope to God she wasn't a cheerleader. Because that will be bad for her. It's like, well, what exactly? See, when a woman gets offended at being called a cheerleader, isn't that just woman on woman bias? What's wrong with being a cheerleader? I don't get it. So that's the offense, right? That she's a television news person. She's not a cheerleader, not like some hoary cheerleader. Is that how she took it? Because if that's how she took it, then she's the one with the damage. I think it was meant just simply as a hi, Barbie girl, like a friendly guy. This is what happens with these old dudes. I'm telling you, and I'm getting there. It's why I keep my mouth shut. Shit, these old dudes think are nice and complimentary and, going to be something sweet are taken way the wrong way. All of a sudden, you got to be careful. And look, it's not, and you know what? It does no good. It does no good to sit there and go, God, these goddamn kids today are changing the world. Yeah, they are. That's how it happens. Kids will always change the world. That's why it sucks getting old. That's why you're the guy standing on your lawn. Get off my grass. That's why you're that guy. Don't be that guy. Understand that you hit a certain point in your life where you don't make the rules anymore. You know who does? 30-year-olds. And you hate it. And we've all hated it. Everybody hates it. There hasn't been a generation of 50-year-old who hasn't looked at the way the rules have suddenly changed. You come on. Hippies in the 70s? What long hair? What happened to the buzz cut? This is not new, right? So whatever. These old guys doing radio, I said last night, I kind of feel for Don Geronimo because I came up in the same era. I came up in the era of guy talk. Some might have called it shock talk. But we could talk about anything. And we talked about girls and, nice ass. And we had strippers in and we objectified. We did all of those things. And through today's lens, I can totally see how that's not acceptable anymore. Why? Because the people who are occupying the space that used to be occupied by me and my friends, they don't like it. And those are the influencers and the movers and the shakers. And those are people with 18 to 34. That's the narrative drivers for American culture, 18 to 34. So, can't say a girl has a nice ass anymore, even though you meant it as a compliment, because now the rules are different. And if you don't accept that the rules are different and you try and push back, you just end up being a crazy old man. And there are a lot of crazy old men out there. So don't be that and just deal with it. Don Geronimo got comfortable. I love the idea that he forgot it was 2023 because actually I say that, but I don't know that he's really all that at fault because I might very easily have said the exact same thing. Oh, look at this Barbie clone. I can't work anymore. Now, this particular issue, I believe, is an overreaction by iHeart radio station WBIG in Washington, D.C. I believe that they overreacted. And why did they overreact? They were pushed to do this overreaction because of the recent history of scandal that has plagued the Washington Commanders. This young broadcaster, once she found out about it, because she didn't hear about it, somebody told her about it. Once she found out about how she was called a Barbie and mistaken as a cheerleader, she marched straight up to the new Washington Commanders executive offices and said, I'm TV news girl, and some pig on the radio said that I was a Barbie girl. And then that person in the Washington Commanders office picked up the phone, called WBIG, their partner in the flagship operation of Washington Commanders radio broadcasts. They called him and they said, you got to fire that guy. Here's the funny thing. They just gave him a 2-year extension last week. So he's all paid up. And now a week later. So that's what I think happened. I think that what would have possibly with another organization have been a slap on the wrist, maybe an apology, a public apology, maybe try and make light of it. That doesn't happen when it's the Washington Commanders because of their history of scandal. And so Don Geronimo, what the hell? He's a 65-year-old millionaire, rich white guy. Yeah, just throw him out. Whatever. He doesn't have to work anymore. More jobs for me and my kind to screw up in, because honestly, I hear tape like that and I think, good Lord, how many things have I said in the last 2 hours that would have gotten the Washington Commanders to pick up the phone and force my radio station to fire me? It's scary out there. It's scary out there for opinions. It's scary. It's most scary out there for people who are just trying to be silly, right? There is no grace room for being silly anymore. There used to be, oh, that joke went too far. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, now I know where the line is. No, there is none of that. You cross a line in an attempt to be silly or to be humorous. Maybe you're thoughtless in whatever it is. I'm never a big fan of what they call punching down, but sometimes that happens. I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard when you're trying to be interesting to navigate these. And simple-minded people will say, well, just be a good person. Okay, well, good people aren't funny. That's the problem. That's the problem with modern comedy. And I'm not even trying to say that Don Geronimo here was trying to be funny. It sounded like he was just being conversational. I go back to it. It's a hi, Barbie girl. He was not being threatening. It seemed actually friendly. ESPN is also trending today. ESPN is trending because Bob Iger keeps saying that he doesn't want to be in business with ESPN anymore. Now, ESPN is a very important piece of the Disney monolith that basically runs roughshod over American entertainment, whether it's streaming, theme parks, television production, film production, Blockbuster, ABC News, ABC Television, ESPN. All of that is Disney. One of the cornerstones of Disney's rise to greatness over the past 20 years, they were always great, but they've become incredibly big, has been that they could always rely on ESPN. Through recession, through box office bombs, through all of that stuff, Disney could always lean on ESPN because ESPN cranked in subscribers and advertiser dollars. ESPN gets paid by the cable and satellite services that air their shows, their network. So you get that money for ESPN, and then ESPN sells advertising on top of it. So there's commercial, so it's been a cash cow. It's been a really Bob Iger, though, he's like looking at what all this is, and he's seeing people cutting the cord, and he doesn't really think that ESPN has necessarily kept pace with the, rebranding into the digital age and all of that. Bob Iger keeps talking about how he's looking for maybe some content partners to come in with ESPN and Disney, somebody to maybe cut them off, maybe go solo, let ESPN be a mom and pop organization. I don't know. Anyway, he's the entertainment world is because and also there's a lot of shit going on at ESPN. ESPN is radically over the last couple of months trying to reshape their image and their brand, and they think that this is all tied together. This is all tied together with Bob Iger's personal opinion that Disney doesn't need ESPN anymore, and that ESPN in the coming years will begin to become a drag on the overall Disney thing. Denver Broncos player. I don't know how to say this name. Iyeoma Uwazurike. I'm sorry. I wasn't born and educated in West Africa. This is a difficult name for me to say. I'm from the Midwest. Denver Broncos defensive end Iyeoma Uwazurike last week received a low-profile suspension for violating the National Football League's betting policy. But now comes word, Uwazurike also faces criminal investigations in 2 states after he allegedly engaged in the ultimate sports taboo, wagering on his own team. So we've seen a whole bunch of these stories over the past couple of weeks, and I said, I believe it was in the days before NFL training camps opened nationwide, I said, I hope I hope this is it. I hope they're getting all of these, betting suspensions out of the way before training camp even opens, and then that'll be it. Why? Because, no Cowboys, no Bears. I felt like, okay, good. All right, good. None of our idiots are that level of idiot. This guy, however, he did the thing that most of the people who get suspended and get in trouble for betting, they get in trouble for betting on other things. This guy was betting on the Denver Broncos. Now, it doesn't say here that he was betting on the Denver Broncos to lose, which would be a real problem, but also betting on them to win, because it is viewed in betting circles that somebody who is in the house, meaning in the facilities of the Denver Broncos, might have some privileged information that he can then use in the betting market. So it's a big taboo. The betting companies don't want it. This is a big one for the betting companies, the sports bets, the DraftKings, all of these people that are pumping billions and billions of dollars into sports around this country. These people want to see the hammer dropped on players who are betting on their own teams, because that is something that if it seeps into the national narrative about betting, people will start to go, "Oh, it's fixed. Yeah, he knew he had a sore ankle," stuff like that. So this is a very big deal. Accusations against Uwazurike are surfacing in both Iowa and Colorado. He played at Iowa State through the 2021 season and was one of 4 current and former ISU athletes who have been charged by the Story County Attorney's Office with tampering with records amid an ongoing investigation into sports gambling. So basically, the Iowa State football team were gambling on college football and gambling on Iowa State. There was a local investigation by the Story County District Attorney's Office in Iowa that was opened. That has now seeped into the NFL offices, and now they've discovered that he was also betting. He continued with this little betting group when he was playing in the NFL. This is a huge mess. We used to say this with weed, right? We used to say, he got $1 million contract. Why is he smoking weed? Why can't he just stop? Why can't you just stop your gambling in season or whatever the rules are? I mean, the league is going to take the money. The league is going to, the NFL through their advertising partnerships is going to encourage you and me and mom and auntie and all of our kids. We're going to encourage all of us to bet. Now, there are certain states that you still can't do it in, Texas being one of them. You people in Texas have no idea what's coming. I saw it in Illinois. I saw how one day there was no sports gambling, and then the next day it was only sports gambling everywhere. Chicago sports radio has been destroyed by legalized sports betting. It is. Every single show on all of my favorite sports talk stations in Chicago, they are all just nothing but, what's the line on that one? Hey, if you want, let's do some parlays. It's no longer about sports talk. It's now all about, why? Because nobody's advertising in radio. Radio stations are losing money hand over fist, all except for sports stations in sports legal betting states. They're making more money than ever before because they're cashing checks from DraftKings and all of that stuff. We don't have that yet here in Texas. We do not. It is not legal in Texas to open up your cell phone and place a $20 wager on a game you're watching while it's in progress. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, went to a Super Bowl party in Illinois a couple of years ago, and just like every dude was like betting furiously on their phones throughout the game. I don't like to gamble. Gambling is maybe fun in very small increments, but I don't want to gamble. I would rather just take the money and spend it on something that I know I'm going to get for it. I hate it. Let's see here. What else do we have? What's the next story? Also trending today, theater behavior. Oh, yeah. Okay. Theater behavior. Apparently, Barbenheimer, this phenomena that we're living through, the two films, Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbenheimer might be good for theaters, but it's bringing out some bad behavior in theater goers. Apparently, people, this is what this article's about. Apparently, we don't know how to behave anymore after the pandemic. Apparently, concerts are more rowdy. Apparently, stand-up comedy shows have more hecklers. Movie theaters have people constantly on their phone taking selfies. Now people are apparently taking pictures and filming the screen as it goes on. Stop it. Theater behavior is at an all-time low, and the experts are saying it's because of the pandemic. People just lost all sense. People just forgot how to behave with other people. And now apparently you can't. I don't go to a lot of movies, so I've never really had this. But there's a number of people in this article talking about how it's just nuts. People having full-on phone conversations with other people while in the movies. I got to imagine that only happens in movie theaters that attract a certain clientele. Don't go to certain movie theaters. If there's a certain movie theater in an area of town that you have designated as an area of town where people don't know not to talk on their phone in the theaters, don't go to the movie there. Go drive downtown. Go to the fancy one at the town showcase mall, whatever. Theater behavior. People don't know how to behave. It's not just theaters. It's everywhere. I watched a guy at the grocery store unload his cart at his trunk and then just shove the cart. That didn't walk it back. And by the way, it was a Kroger, so it was probably only about 20 steps to the next cart corral. He didn't do that. He finished and he went, and just pushed it so that he could back his car up. That's a monster. That dude is a monster. I mean, look, I know. Look, here's what it does. It bespeaks a whole bunch of other probabilities that are now in play about his life. That guy's a piece of shit. You can't even that is just a social agreement. There was no sign that says put your cart back. All of a sudden, there were just cart corrals, and people started doing it. And we as a society all got. So people are behaving poorly at theaters. There you go. That's the story. Also, on that same note, Metallica fans. Apparently, Metallica fans have caused the band to be charged $300,000 in seat replacements. Apparently, there's some theater that they played in California, and they had cushions on the seats. And all of the fans at the Metallica concert, they started ripping the cushions and throwing them like frisbees all over and tearing them apart. And the next day after the concert, Metallica got a bill for $300,000. So Lars Ulrich is asking Metallica fans, please don't do that. That's so worthless. So there you have it. Metallica fans, they can't behave either. Let's see here. Oh, here's a list. How about the 3 best and the 3 worst airlines in the United States? That's out today. Travelers, important to some people. Not me. I don't like airplanes. We talked about an airplane crash today earlier on the show, and I didn't like it. So let's get into this. The 3 best and worst airlines in the United States. Wall Street Journal's 15th annual airline scorecard has been released. First place, okay? This is the best airline. Are you ready? The first place winner, best airline in America, ladies and gentlemen, Delta Airlines. Delta finished first for the second year in a row. It's the 5th time that they've taken the number 1 spot in the past 6 years. So I would say Delta. I like Delta. I flew Delta once to Ireland. That's the only memorable experience on Delta. And it was, it's a long transatlantic flight. So I remember thinking it was a good flight. Best airline I've ever flown on was Aer Lingus. That was the Irish airline. That airline was really nice. Maybe it was a brand new plane. I don't know. It was just really nice. Okay, so Delta is the number 1 airline in America. Second best airline in America. I think you're kind of limited on where you can go with this airline. But Alaska Airlines is the second best airline in America, as rated by the Wall Street Journal. Here's why I like Alaska Airlines. Alaska Airlines have those planes that have Abe Lincoln in a parka on the tail. Have you ever seen them? Have you ever been at the airport and you've seen the airplane with the giant tail, it's a giant face on the tail in a parka? I know you're thinking, no, Pugs, that's an Eskimo. Look closer. It's Abe Lincoln. It's Abe Lincoln wearing an Eskimo's parka. That's Alaska Airlines. They're the second best airline in America, as rated by the Wall Street Journal. Let's see here. Alaska Airlines would have earned the honor of the top spot if not for a late December storm that affected the Pacific Northwest. Third place, best airline in America. And when you think about, what the last year has been, Southwest Airlines, that's right, our hometown airlines, my personal favorite airline. I choose to fly Southwest. I've got 1 foot in Chicago and 1 foot in Dallas sometimes, right? Back and forth. Southwest, man, easy. It's like a clean Greyhound bus, just flying through the air. I love it. Southwest Airline comes in 3rd place. How did the airlines do it? Well, they did it by having relatively low rates of complaints, they have very few lengthy tarmac delays, and few mishandled bags. According to the Wall Street Journal, remember the shitstorm? Southwest had a major shitstorm like 9 months ago where everything is awful. I mean, they shouldn't be number 3. So what does that say about the rest of their year? Apparently they're solid. And I got to tell you, we lived through it. Remember, I have a bunch of friends who work or are associated with people who work for Southwest. I remember hearing about how nuts it was, especially my friends on Twitter who I follow who are Southwest employees. It was nuts, and yet they're still number 3. All right, how about the worst airlines? The absolute worst airlines in America. Let's see here. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1 on this one. The worst airline, third place worst airline in America, according to the Wall Street Journal, Spirit Airlines. Spirit Airlines finished next to last in terms of complaints, meaning that they nearly had the most worst. Second place was Frontier Airlines. Frontier. So you got Spirit Airlines as the 3rd to the bottom of American Airlines. And then you got Frontier Airlines 2nd. Let's find out what the worst airline in America is, ladies and gentlemen. JetBlue. JetBlue posted all poor numbers in every single category. All right, so there you have it. Those are the worst and the best airlines in America. What were the best? Delta, Alaska Air, and Southwest. And the worst were Spirit, Frontier, and JetBlue. There you go. All right. Pee Wee Herman died a couple of days ago. We learned about it right here on the show. It happened in live time. Very sad. Who doesn't love Pee Wee Herman? Pee Wee Herman dies. And now, like, a lot of like interesting little things that people didn't know about Pee Wee Herman are coming out. For instance, do you know that one of Pee Wee Herman's best and oldest friends is David Hasselhoff? That's right. David Hasselhoff and Pee Wee Herman met in an acting class in like the mid 1970s, and they moved in together, and they were roommates for years and years and years. They were roommates when his show began to take off at the Groundlings. They were roommates when he got cast as Michael Knight in Knight Rider. Anyway, David Hasselhoff put out a very nice note to his past friend, and that's always interesting to me. It's always because you wouldn't think. I mean, that's a very random twosome, right? Two guys before they were famous, David Hasselhoff and Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, were living together in some shitty apartment as like 22-year-olds. One would go on to be Pee Wee Herman, the other guy would have Baywatch money. I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy. Colin Cowherd, sports radio talker. I believe he's a part of Fox News. Is that, or not Fox Sports, I should say. Colin Cowherd is believed to be on the move. Colin Cowherd may be shifting over to ESPN, as we mentioned earlier. ESPN doing a lot of crazy things. They've basically given their entire daily Monday through Friday programming day over to Pat McAfee, who currently is still just a streamer on YouTube, but they're going to hand it over to him. They're now looking to bring in Colin Cowherd. They've been firing everybody. They've been slashing budgets as far as talent budgets. So what I'm thinking they're probably going to do is they're going to go with 1, 2, or 3 high-paid primary faces of the network. And then everybody else is going to be like paid $70,000. 70 grand, sideline reporters, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Just very low entry level. So it'll be like Pat McAfee, Colin Cowherd, and then, whoever else they bring in there. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But Colin Cowherd, let's see here. ESPN reportedly interested in bringing back notable analyst as face of newly formed ESPN. Colin Cowherd. Not a done deal. Certainly just a rumor, but there you go. Be looking for that. What do I think of Colin Cowherd? I don't mind him. I think he's good. I think he's really talented. Like I like see what he's doing, and I like it. I'm like, yeah, I get you. All right, I got you. I get your bag. I get your act. I know what you're doing. I also know somebody who knows him, and this person who knows him speaks very highly of him. Like he's supposed to be just a pretty cool guy. He's a rabble rouser. I don't hate him like I hate Skip Bayless. I hate Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. You know what? Skip Bayless I hate. Skip Bayless I do not like. Skip Bayless is a jerk and a terrible human being, and it's just obvious that he's a jerk and a terrible human being. Stephen A. Smith is kind of funny. Like he's funny because does he know that I'm laughing at him? Right? I want Stephen A. Smith to know I'm laughing at you. I'm not laughing with you. You are entertaining me, and I am laughing at you. That's what I want Stephen A. Smith to know. Colin Cowherd, I don't know, sometimes he says things that trigger me, but again, as soon as he triggers me, I go, I see what you're doing, Cowherd. I know what you're doing. I got you. I see you. Let's see here. Cheapest places to live. Ooh, here's another fun little list that's out. Cheapest places to live. You want to live? Is this a draw? I know that it's interesting. I'm interested in where the cheapest places in America to live are, but I can't imagine that I would want to live there. Why? Because there's a reason they're the cheapest place in America to live. They don't have a Chuck E. Cheese. They don't have a Taco Bell. You know what I mean? I don't want to. There's places. The 10 most affordable places to live in the United States. Fun fact, none are in Florida. I don't know. That seems like an unnecessary dig at Florida by the author of this article, but I don't know his history. Let's see. The number 1 most affordable place to live in the United States is Hickory, North Carolina. Now, Hickory, North Carolina sounds quaint. It sounds like, you swim down by the holler, cool mountain summer breezes. The Hickory, North Carolina sounds great, but I bet there's nothing in there. How about Youngstown, Ohio? Number 2 most affordable places to live in the United States, Youngstown, Ohio. Isn't that place like hell? Isn't Youngstown like a dead steel town? Isn't it like Gary, Indiana? Isn't Youngstown, Ohio like the worst? Huntington, West Virginia, and Ashland, Kentucky. I don't know why these are both 3. Are they on the border of each other? But again, Huntington, West Virginia, and Ashland, Kentucky, no thank you. I watched Justified. I don't need to. I know about Eastern Kentucky. How about Huntsville, Alabama, coming in at number 4? Now, Huntsville is interesting because Huntsville, they've got big business there. They've got some big national defense industry stuff down there, and that's where they build rockets, or they used to build rockets when we built rockets. Maybe it's a shithole now. I don't know. Fort Wayne, Indiana comes in at number 5, most affordable places to live in the United States. I've been to Fort Wayne. Got no take on Fort Wayne. There you go. I mean, I guess I could. No, man. I don't. How much money do I? Because doesn't it all depend on how much money you have? Because you can live anywhere with enough money. But Fort Wayne, Beaumont, Texas comes in at number 6. No, thank you. Number 7, Peoria, Illinois. No, thank you. Number 8, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hold on now. This is a difficult one for me because I despise the Green Bay Packers. I absolutely hate them. However, kind of love Green Bay, Wisconsin. Kind of think Green Bay, Wisconsin is sort of awesome. It's sort of like the idealized American town, and they even have an NFL team. They shouldn't have an NFL team. They shouldn't have an NFL team any more than Waco should have an NFL team. Yet there they are, the Green Bay Packers, and it's like small town. But there's like, there's a restaurant. There's like a good it's not small town. I mean, there's shit to do. All right, Green Bay, Wisconsin, number 8 in the most affordable places to live in the United States. That sounds like that's the best choice so far. Number 9, Quad Cities, the Quad Cities of Iowa and Illinois. Nah, that's good too. I could live in the Quad Cities. As a matter of fact, I have a friend who lives in the Quad Cities. I'm very happy there. Very happy. Shout out to Scott. Shout out to Quad Cities, Scott. He ain't listening. And number 10 is Knoxville, Tennessee. So once again, the 10 most affordable places in America to live: Knoxville, Tennessee; Quad Cities, Iowa, Illinois; Green Bay, Wisconsin; Peoria, Illinois; Beaumont, Texas; Fort Wayne, Indiana; Huntsville, Alabama; Huntington, West Virginia / Ashland, Kentucky. Number 2 is Youngstown, Ohio, and number 1 is Hickory. There you have it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Cheapest places to live. Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza is trending. Lollapalooza kicks off tomorrow in my hometown of Chicago. Let's see. I've only been to one of the Chicago Lollapaloozas in its current form, which is the permanent home in Grant Park, which is great. I've been to a couple of other Lollapaloozas back when it was a touring thing in the 90s. I enjoy Lollapalooza because I'm Gen X. I enjoy Lollapalooza because it feels like, this is something that people my generation started, and geez, it's still going. Oh, it's so corporate now. Okay, whatever. So are we. We're all corporate now. Why are we gonna Lollapalooza? Let's see. How can you watch it? Well, one way you can watch it, which is interesting, which sort of differentiates itself from some of the other concert festivals. I know you can do this with Coachella. It's going to be on TV. You're going to be able to watch it live if you have Hulu. So Lollapalooza will be streamed. Lollapalooza Music Festival will return Thursday with a star-studded lineup of performers. The annual festival will take place Thursday, August 3rd through Sunday, August 6th at the Grant Park in Chicago. Billie Eilish, Karol G. I don't know who Karol G is. Should I? Who's Karol G? That doesn't seem like a big name to me, but is it? Billie Eilish. I know Billie Eilish is a big name. Karol G. Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's a big one. Red Hot Chili Peppers. They headline anywhere. They're big. They got, a whole bunch of records, all that stuff. TXT, who is a K-pop group, who I guess are big. The festival is going to stream via 2 live feeds on the streaming service Hulu, and it tells you how to get Hulu. Lollapalooza Music Festival is going to be on Hulu starting on Thursday at 2:05 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's 1:05. Billie Eilish, Karol G, Diplo, Portugal the Man, The 1975, Odizza, Jesse Reyes, Young Gravy, Afrojack, Sophie Tucker, and Tomorrow X Together, otherwise known as TXT, the Korean pop band. They'll perform as well as Kendrick Lamar, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey. Let's stop down on her for a minute. First of all, she's terrific. She is weirdly terrific. Lana Del Rey. See this story? Lana Del Rey took a job at a Waffle House somewhere in like Alabama. Here, let me see if I can find this for you. Lana Del Rey was working at a Waffle House. Let me see. Yeah, look at that. You just put in Lana Del Rey and Waffle House comes up. This is crazy. All right, do we have pictures? All right, yeah, so we'll show you these pictures. I don't know if you saw this. We didn't talk about it. I think it happened at a weird time. I think it like happened after the show or something like that. Boop. All right, so here's the story. It says, okay, we're going to get rid of that. Lana Del Rey spotted working in Alabama Waffle House. She was super lovely. All right, so now here's a picture. This is a legit picture from an Alabama Waffle House. And that's Lana Del Rey on the left. She's even got a little name tag that says Lana. This is like this is a massive pop star who's just, you're sitting there, you order some eggs, maybe a couple of waffles on the side at the Waffle House, and you think your waitress looks like Lana Del Rey. It was Lana Del Rey. Let's see if we can get into why she did this. Let me see here. Says there, we love a mysteriously multifaceted pop star, and Lana Del Rey checked another box when she was seen working a shift in uniform at a Waffle House in Alabama on Thursday. The New York-born singer-songwriter has been spotted in multiple Alabama cities this week, this time inside a Florence location of a popular restaurant chain, delighting fans with selfies and good vibes. Muscle Shoals resident Karina Cisneros Juarez met Del Rey and even snapped a pic with the singer. To say I'm ecstatic is an understatement, Juarez posted on her Facebook page. I have been a huge fan of Lana Del Rey for over a decade, so meeting her today was truly insane. Let's see if there are any other pictures. Yeah, there's another picture of her. There she is. There's a little Ron. Okay, so here now that I'm reading this. So she's down there in Muscle. This is Waffle House outside Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Muscle Shoals, Alabama, is the site of one of the most historic and important recording studios in American popular music history. So obviously, Lana Del Rey is down there working at the Muscle Shoals studio, just like the Rolling Stones have, just like Beyonce has, just like all of these people have. So that's why she's there. But why is she taking a job? Why is she working a shift at the Waffle House? That's too awesome. Anyway, I don't know. Reminds me of what Andy Kaufman did. Do you remember what Andy Kaufman did when he was he was on Taxi, and he was super popular on Taxi, and he had renegotiated a new, like, he was going to be like the highest paid guy on TV to do one more season of Taxi. And so he accepted the new contract to do Taxi, and then immediately took a job as a busboy at a deli on Sunset Boulevard, where he worked for months. Like, Andy Kaufman would work shifts bussing tables. Why? He said he just wanted to freak people out because he loved it when people would see him and they'd be like, that guy looks like Andy Kaufman. Hey, are you Andy Kaufman? He was Latka on Taxi. He was a big TV star. And he was also at the same time, just for fun, working as a busboy at a deli in Hollywood. Lana Del Rey might be doing the same thing. It might be some attempt to, get some inspiration with her writing, or, be somehow in touch with her working class roots. I don't know if she even has those, but whatever it is, I think it's funny. And that was just a couple of weeks ago. She's working shifts at the Waffle House there outside Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And then now here she is. Look at her. She's on stage at Lollapalooza. Kendrick Lamar, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Lana Del Rey, Carly Rae Jepsen, New Jeans, Lainey Wilson, Pusha T, Sabrina Carpenter and other artists will also take the stage. And then it goes on to a full schedule. So there you have it. It is a summer cut. So look, here's what I like about Lollapalooza. One, I'm biased because it's from the 90s, okay, right? So it's something that I remember when it started. I remember going to the first Lollapalooza. Secondly, for the past 10 years, decade plus or so, I don't know, it's been in my hometown. And it's been a big addition to the summer slate of schedule, summer schedule that Chicago puts on. Whether it's the Taste of Chicago or the Air and Water Show, now Lollapalooza or Cub Sox Weekend, all of these things are like summer events in the city of Chicago. And Lollapalooza, Riot Fest up on the north side, that's a big one. Lollapalooza has become sort of a permanent thing for my city. So I like it. So I'm biased towards it. But here's the other reason why I'm biased towards it. If I'm going to go to one of these festivals, like if you're going to, like Bonnaroo sounds absolutely disgusting to me. Coachella also seems like a freaking grind. If I am going to go to one of these festivals, okay, and I'm going to spend 8 hours in the August sun on the shores of Lake Michigan listening to music with 100,000 other people, at the end of those 8 hours, here's what I require. An air-conditioned hotel room, a shower, a change of clothes, and a whole bunch of dining options. That's what I need. And that's what Lollapalooza in Chicago provides. That I'm sorry, Bonnaroo doesn't. Now you're saying, Pugs, that sounds too expensive. Don't you want to just go sleep on the ground in a tent in the woods and eat burnt hot dogs over a campfire and then go watch a reformed Oasis? I don't know, whatever. I'm just throwing shit out there. My point is this. No, I don't want that. That sounds terrible. I'm a man in my 50s. I'm not sleeping outside. I require air conditioning. A bed is also a requirement. And I like a dinner. And if I am going to a big concert festival, here's the thing. It's probably the only one I'm going to this year. So I'm going to splurge because I'm not one of these people who just goes to every concert. Ruin the experience. Ugh. All right, there you have it. Enjoy Lollapalooza. I'll be watching it on Hulu, the live stream on Hulu. Guys, that's it. We are out of things to talk about today. Did not hear any tips. That's okay. So we're going to muscle on through. Help us out if you can. Drop a little something in the tip jar if you're so inclined. Venmo or Cash App. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. That's how we are able to do shows. Thank you to the folks who helped us get through July. Now we're trying to get through the month of August. We need to have the money in play right now by the end of the week, or else, I'm going to have to go do something else. So appreciate it if you can. Just be thinking of us this week. If you think you drop a little something, that would be great. Thank you so much. All right. Is there anything trending that I need to be aware of? Has anything big gone down? Let's see. What's Mike Pence doing? All right, Mike Pence is we don't nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares what Mike Pence is doing. Nobody. Who is this guy running? Who is this guy? I don't get it. Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm scanning. I don't see really anything else happening here today. Let's jump into the chat room and say hi to some of the chatters. My boy. There's Frank. Who do we got here? Frank, Byron. A lot of people talking about food from Waffle House. I love Waffle House. Is there a Waffle House near me? I don't even know if there's a Waffle House near me. Highland Park. Is there a Highland Park Waffle House? There should be. There isn't. There should be. I probably got to get on 35, right? If I get on 35 and just start heading south, I'll hit a Waffle House. Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's it. I think we're going to end the show just a little bit early. Come join us tonight. Tonight, Parker and I will be back for more Radio Misfits. The Radio Misfits show is the second stream that I do. That comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday. Myself, James Parker, He comes in. He's on vacation. He's down there in the Bahamas, so he's not with us. So it's James and I. And he shows last night's show. James and I thought was really good. Last night, James and I got into some stuff. We did some topics. It was an interesting conversation. At least I think so. Maybe you will too. You can find all past shows, including last night's very interesting Radio Misfits presentation, by going to pugscast.com. Pugscast.com. That's the shortcut to the YouTube page. It'll get you all the past shows. Yeah, man, I'm hot. Ugh.
I have got my poetry.
All right, let's do a temperature check.
To see me through the lonely nights, help me to be strong.
Oh God, you guys, it's 104 degrees. Good news though. Good news. Remember yesterday when I told you the 10-day forecast, and it was over 104 every single day for the next 10 days. Yeah, that's been revised. Doesn't look that bad anymore. Here's what we're looking at least around these parts. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're from Iowa, it looks horrible. But, being here in Texas where we were looking at 107s, shit like that, 108. Are we going to get to 110? That kind of stuff. This is actually looking like it's going to be a bit of a breather. And by that, I mean it's going to be 99 degrees. Here we go. When's it going to be 99? Oh, nope, never mind. Hold on. Today, the high is going to be 104, which I think we're already at. Tomorrow, the high is going to be 103. Friday, the high is going to be 104. Saturday, the high is going to be 104. Sunday, the high is going to be 103. Monday, the high is going to be 103. Here we go, guys. Tuesday, the high is going to be 101. Wednesday, the high is going to be 102. Thursday, a week from tomorrow, is going to be 102. All right. So, it's kind of going down. There were more 105s yesterday when I did it. So it's kind of going down. It's like going down from 103 to 105. What a day. Credit is due, man. I want to give a shout out. Maybe prematurely, maybe be looking at the weather forecast. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this just yet. Want to give a shout out to the power grid here in Texas, huh? Hanging and banging. Woo! No rolling blackouts. A couple of summers ago, we had some rolling blackouts where we were blacked out for then you got to reprogram the microwave. Ugh. A couple summers ago, we had some rolling blackouts. We haven't had any yet. Although it's just August. August is the hottest month, and it has been so hot. But look, man, seems to me that if the power was going to go, if we were going to blow up the Texas power grid, which seems to be put together with staples and duct tape, it seems like maybe it would have gone by now. I don't want to count the chickens. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to count the chickens. But so far, so good. And you keep going, Texas power grid. You keep going, because please, I do not want to sleep in my car. I will. Where would I have to drive? Like if the Texas power grid failed and we were thrust into a situation like that winter, a few winters back, if that were to happen in the summertime, where would I have to drive? Where would there be power? I don't understand how this whole thing works. Little Rock? Could I drive up to Little Rock, Arkansas? Could I drive across the border? Is Louisiana okay? Where would I go? I don't know. All right, there you go. Anyway, I do want to doff my cap to the fine folks at the Texas electricity people. I don't respect them enough to actually memorize the name of their organization. But so far, so good. All right, guys, gotta go. Bye-bye. See you tonight at 9 o'clock. Love you.
It has been a journey, a multi-answer way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401, I don't have the greed. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.